when I found out Julian had extended his out-of-town project for another 7 years. I left New York and traveled hours to reach his project site, only to be stopped at the gate by an older guard.
Hello, does Julian work here?
What do you want with my son-in-law?
The words hit me like a thunderclap. I told myself it was a coincidence. Same name, different man.
Relax, Mr. Miller. Everyone around here knows. Julian is totally whipped. She's probably here on business from corporate.
I kept my composure and pulled up a photo of Julian on my phone.
I am here on business. Is this the Julian you're talking about?
The old man relaxed.
Yeah, that's him. That's my son-in-law.
The blood in my veins froze. Before I could process a single word, a woman appeared, well-dressed, smiling.
You here to talk business with my man?
She asked cheerfully.
Come wait at our place. Our son's got a fever. He took him to the hospital in town.
I stared at her, thunderstruck, barely able to breathe. She noticed I wasn't moving and waved me over.
I'm Julian's wife, Mia. Just call me Mia.
She was warm and talkative, smile never leaving her face.
There's nothing but rough guys around here, and half of them don't know how to act. A woman shouldn't be standing around alone out here. Come on back to the house. He'll be a while.
She reached out and touched my arm, and I followed her. I watched her as we walked. She looked more than 10 years younger than Julian.
Lord, you women from New York really are something else. Look at that skin. Smooth as a peeled egg. My man's got skin just like yours, all soft and clear.
I forced a smile. Julian and I both had good skin. I was older than Mia by a fair margin, but I'd taken care of myself. I still looked like I was in my mid-20s. No one would guess I'd been married for 12 years. But what did any of that matter? I had a career, raised our son, looked after his parents, managed everything on my own. And my husband had still gone and built an entirely different life out here behind my back. Mia talked the whole way. She didn't seem to need a response. A couple on a motorcycle slowed down as they passed us. The woman on the back held out a small paper bag.
Your man thinks of everything. Takes the kid to the doctor and still remembers you wanted chestnuts. Asked me to drop these off. Your husband really does take care of you,
I said, keeping my voice even. The woman on the motorcycle laughed.
Everyone knows Julian is totally whipped. Julian turns into a whole different man the second Mia gives him a look. One tear and he's done.
Mia shook her head and smiled.
Oh, stop it.
A bitter ache welled up inside me. My husband, the man who had spent 12 years talking to me about equality in marriage, about respect and partnership. That man had come out here and made himself completely, voluntarily, another woman's lapdog. Mia's house stopped me in my tracks. It was a massive villa. Nothing like the other houses around it. Distinctive, well-built, clearly the only one of its kind in town.
My man built it,
she said.
Nobody else around here has anything like it. And he's the first husband in town to move in with his wife's family.
Moved in with her family? The moment I stepped into the living room, I saw it. A framed family portrait on the wall. 6 people, everyone smiling, a boy who looked about 5, a little girl, maybe 3. We had a portrait just like it hanging in our apartment back in New York, except ours only had 3 people, Julian, me, and our 10-year-old son, no daughter. The year Julian first left for this project, he had cupped my face in his hands and made me a promise.
2 years max. I'll find a way to transfer back. And when I do, if you're up for it, we'll try for a second baby. After that, we'll never be apart again.
2 years became 7. He came home for a few days every Christmas, and that was all we got. Last year, when he was home for the holidays, I mentioned offhand how I still wished we'd had a daughter. He brushed it off.
Honestly, with the way things are, smart people aren't having more kids. 1 is enough.
I thought he'd simply changed his mind. Turns out he already had his daughter. He just hadn't had her with me.
We've got Wi-Fi. Password's 990913. My man set it to my birthday,
Mia said, already heading to the kitchen. She came back with a cup of tea and set it in front of me, still smiling. Something jolted in my chest. Julian had told me there was no reliable internet signal out here. That was why I could never reach him directly. He always had to be the one to contact me first. I connected to the network. Full bars, one lie after another, each one like a blade going in clean. I kept my voice easy.
You two seem really happy. Does it worry you that he might get transferred back to New York someday?
Mia's smile didn't waver.
Not at all. They almost pulled him back earlier this year. He called in every favor he had to stay.
My heart dropped like it had been thrown off a cliff. It wasn't the company keeping him out here. He had fought to stay. Although he had, knowing his mother had suffered a stroke and couldn't care for herself. Although he had, knowing his father had broken his leg in a fall and needed help. Although he had, knowing our son had cried more than once over missing his father. Although he had, knowing I had been worn down by work and family until I ended up in the hospital more than once. And he had stayed anyway. Comfortably, contentedly, a chill ran through me, my shoulders trembling slightly. Mia crossed the room and switched on the air conditioning, thinking I was cold.
It'll warm up in a minute. My husband bought me the best air conditioner, a big brand name.
She said everything about Julian casually, warmly.
Nobody else in town has one. I didn't even want it. I told him it was too much. But he insisted.
I kept the smile on my face.
He's quite a bit older than you. Is this his second marriage? "10 years older. We are both getting married for the first time."
Mia smiled.
I'm the lucky one. A girl like me, barely finished high school, ending up with a man who has a master's degree. He's the project manager for the whole development. I never imagined I'd end up married to someone like that. But instead, he says meeting me was the best thing that ever happened to him.
She kept talking.
The age gap's a good thing. Older men is responsible at work and at home. Every paycheck goes straight to me.
Bitterness welled up in my chest. For years, Julian had been transferring money back to our joint account every month, only left $1,000 for himself. He told me his housing and meals were covered, that he barely needed anything for himself out here. I had a college roommate who worked in payroll department of his company. Years ago, I quietly confirmed his monthly salary, once $11,000.
He takes good care of the whole family.
I said,
God, yes. My mom has a bad back. He bought her that massage chair without blinking. My dad likes his whiskey, so Julian keeps cases of the good top shelf stuff stocked for him.
She added,
and he gives me a separate allowance every month for whatever I want.
She said the number plainly. I heard it, and I knew Julian had been taking the bribes. The bitterness turned colder, not just for myself, but for his parents, who had no idea. 3 months ago, his mother had nearly died, a severe stroke. I had stood outside the ICU and called him, crying.
Julian, please. She's in critical condition. She keeps asking for you. Please come home.
I'm so sorry, Chloe. The project is at a critical stage right now. I really can't leave. She'll be okay.
So many nights like that. His phone unanswered or always some excuse. He never came back. And the whole time, he was here, being a good husband, a good father, a good son-in-law. The irony was sickening. Mia's phone rang. She didn't step away or lower her voice. She just answered it right there, close enough that I heard every word.
Hey, baby.
Julian's voice, the same warm tone he used to use with me.
Our son still hasn't broken his fever. The doctor wants to keep him overnight. I'm a little short on cash. Can you transfer me some? $300 should cover it.
I laughed inwardly. How a devoted family husband. Mia smiled into the phone.
Of course. I'll send it now.
Then Julian's voice softened.
I can't hold you tonight, baby. Stay warm, okay? Don't kick off the blankets.
12 years of marriage, and the last time he'd said anything like that to me is ages ago. These days, he didn't even show that kind of warmth toward our own son. Time had made us an old married couple, in name only, and slowly, without me noticing, it had made us the most familiar of strangers. Mia hung up and turned to me with a smile.
I just realized I never asked your name. Chloe. What a pretty name.
She was as cheerful as ever. Even now, I was still giving her the benefit of the doubt that she had no idea, just as deceived as I was.
Since Julian won't be back tonight,
she said,
why don't you just stay? You can talk to him about the work stuff tomorrow.
That evening, Mia cooked a full dinner, a proper spread, balanced and generous. I met their daughter for the first time. Mr. and Mrs. Miller were polite to me, but there was a wariness in the way they looked at me. At the table, the conversation kept coming back to Julian. The way they talked about him, he wasn't a son-in-law. He was their son. Mia was their an only child. In a rural area like this, her parents had spent their whole lives looked down on for not having a son. Then Julian arrived, moved in, supported the whole family. Mrs. Miller said,
Julian is the backbone of this family. We can't do without him.
Something lodged in my throat, like a thorn I couldn't remove. The backbone of our family, gone for 7 years, had been holding up someone else's the whole time. Mia put me in the guest room for the night. After the lights went out, I lay there unable to sleep. Through the wall, I could hear Mr. and Mrs. Miller talking quietly for a long time. I made 2 decisions. I filed a report with documentation within evidence to Julian's corporate headquarters. Then I sent my brother a message. He was a police officer. I'm going to need you to come make an arrest. Julian broke the law. Neither decision felt satisfying, but both were right and accounting for my own life, a consequence he had earned. The next morning, Mia pulled a coat from her closet and held it out to me.
It's cold and you're not dressed for it.
She added quickly.
My husband just bought this for me. Only been washed once, never worn.
A designer label I had spent an entire winter looking at, adding to my cart, removing it, telling myself there were more important things to spend money on, parents to care for, a child to raise. I used to say things like that to Julian.
Other husbands buy their wives things. In all these years, you've never once picked something out for me.
He always had the same answer, calm and easy.
The money's yours. I wouldn't know what to choose anyway. I'm no good with that kind of thing.
He just didn't want to bother. Not for me.
Thank you,
I said and took it. It was beautiful. It was warm. A flash of surprise crossing Mia's face. She had clearly expected me to politely refuse. At breakfast, she was back to her usual self, cheerful, talkative, dropping Julian's name into every other sentence. At one point, she looked at me and asked,
Are you happy?
I smiled lightly.
It's fine. My husband just isn't as attentive as yours.
She smiled widely at that. Then just before noon, the front door swung open. Julian's voice filled the house.
Honey, I'm home.
Mia and I both stood up from the couch. He walked in with their 5-year-old son. The moment his eyes landed on me, he went rigid. I looked at him steadily.
Which honey are you talking to?
Julian's face locked up. He stood there holding the boy and said absolutely nothing. I held his gaze. My eyes said everything I didn't speak aloud. Why? How could you? Do you have any idea what you've done to your son, to your parents? He was an only child. His whole life, they had sacrificed everything for him, and he had walked away from all of it and quietly become the son of someone else's family. I would never understand it. I would never forgive it. Mia broke first. What does that mean? Her voice cracked. She grabbed my arm, then turned to Julian. Why is she asking you that? The paralysis broke from Julian's face. He quickly set the boy down. He took a few steps forward, then stopped, caught exactly halfway between us, unable to choose a direction. I'll explain everything, he said weakly. Explain what? I kept my voice level. That our 12-year marriage is nothing but an empty shell? That you have no parents, no son, or that you, a married man, have been living out here as another woman's husband, and you're ready to file for divorce so she can finally have your last name? Every word landed. He had no answer. He looked like a man caught with nowhere to run. I know I don't deserve forgiveness, he finally said. I'm sorry. Mia fell apart. Sorry? What does that mean for me? She was crying now, fully. You said I was everything to you. You said I was your life. Say something. Tell me what's happening right now. And then Julian turned away from me and moved to pull her into his arms. My heart was bleeding. Fury rose through me. Then what are you saying? I demanded. He let go of her. He didn't dare hold her again. He stood there looking cornered, miserable, caught between 2 directions with no good move left. In the silence, my phone rang. Julian's father, a video call.